Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. Today I will be presenting our report on the globalization of Cantas, a mechanized oil palm harvesting tool developed by E-Tani in Malaysia and its potential expansion to the Indonesian palm oil market. Palm oil is one of the most important agricultural commodities in the world. Although palm oil uses only 7% of the global land allocated for oil crops, it produces around 32% of the world vegetable oil, clearly showing how efficient it is compared to the other crops such as soybean and sunflower. Oil palm can be produced between 3.8 to 4.17 tons per hectare, while soybean and sunflower only produce around 0.7 tons. Besides its high productivity, palm oil is widely used in food products, cosmetics, pharmaceutical and renewable energy because its long shelf life and stability at high temperatures. However, the industry is now facing serious challenges, especially labor shortages and rising production costs, which increase the need for mechanized solutions. Cantas is a mechanized harvesting tool developed by E-Tani in Malaysia to address these challenges. It increases cutting speed, reduces physical strain on workers, and lowers the dependency on highly skilled harvesters. In Malaysia, Cantas has already shown strong results in improving harvesting efficiency and productivity. Indonesia is selected as the target market because it is the world's largest palm oil producer. In 2025, its palm oil production is expected to reach between 56 to 57 million tons, with export volume of about 30 million tons. Despite this, many Indonesian plantations, especially smallholders, still rely heavily on manual harvesting method. This often causes inconsistent cutting quality, worker fatigue, and lower oil extraction rates. The problem is made worse by labor shortages, aging workers, and the migration of young people to the urban areas. Although Cantas is proven in Malaysia, entering the Indonesian market is not straightforward. Indonesia has different regulation, plantation structures, and business environment. Without a clear strategy on certification, partnerships, and distribution channels, E-Tani may face low adoption and even commercial failure. Therefore, the purpose of this report is to evaluate the feasibility of introducing Cantas into Indonesia by analyzing four key factors, which is trade barriers, economic condition, cultural and labor factor, and the political environment. In conclusion, Indonesia offers a large and attractive market for Cantas, but success will depend on a well-planned entry strategy. With the right approach, Cantas has strong potential to improve harvesting quality and support the long-term sustainability of Indonesia's palm oil harvesting.
Hello everyone. Today, I will be presenting the opportunities and threat for Cantas, a motorized palm oil cutter by E-Tani in the Indonesian market. When expanding internationally, it is very important for companies to understand both the potential for growth and the risk involved, especially in an industry as complex as palm oil. In Indonesia, it provides a strong opportunity, but it also comes with significant challenges. About the market opportunities, first, let's look at the market opportunities. In Indonesia, it is the world's largest producer of palm oil. It contributes around 58% of global production. This creates a large and consistent demand for efficient harvesting solutions. Cantas has strong potential in this market because it helps to address labor shortages by increasing harvesting efficiency and reducing reliance on manual labor. In addition, Indonesia has a relatively stable political environment and steady economic growth of 5% annually. So the government initiatives such as infrastructure development and the B35 biodiesel mandate further increase palm oil demand, which support the long-term industry growth. Lastly, Indonesia relationship driven by the business culture provides opportunities for Cantas to build long-term partnerships with local farmers, distributors, and government agencies. By adapting to the local practices, Cantas can strengthen its position in the market. Next is the market threats. However, there are also several threats that Cantas must consider. So the first one is the political and regulatory risk. are a major concern as Indonesia frequently changes its policies related to the palm oil export and biofuel mandates. These changes can create uncertainty and disrupt business operations. Trade barriers also pose challenges, especially in international markets. Regulations such as the European Union Deforestation Regulation require strict sustainability compliance, which can increase the cost and limit market access. Furthermore, competition in Indonesia's palm oil sector is very intense. The industry is highly fragmented, involving a large corporation and millions of smallholder farmers, making it difficult for new entrants to stand out. Cultural and operational challenges are another risk. Business in Indonesia is highly relationship-based, and companies that fail to understand local custom and communication styles may face delays and also partnership failures. Alright, so in conclusion, Indonesia offers significant opportunities for Cantas due to its dominant palm oil industry, economic growth, and supportive government policies. But, however, these opportunities are balanced by risks such as regulatory uncertainty, trade barriers, and also strong competition and cultural complexity. Therefore, the success of Cantas in Indonesia depends on effective strategic planning, strong local partnership, and a clear commitment to sustainability. So that's all from me. Thank you. I'm going to pass to the next presenter.
Hi, I am Nurul Syafiqah binti Muhammad Fauzi. Today, I will explain the strategy entry mode for Cantas into the Indonesian market. After performing well in Malaysia, Cantas sees Indonesia as a strong opportunity due to its larger agricultural sector. However, international expansion involves uncertainty and risk. So a well-planned entry strategy is crucial to ensure long-term sustainability. So the question is, why Indonesia? Indonesia is an attractive market because it has a strong agricultural base, especially in palm oil and farming activities. There is also a growing labor shortage in rural areas, which increases the need for mechanized solutions. In addition, the government actively encourages agricultural mechanization, making Indonesia a promising market for Cantas. Despite the potential, entering Indonesia comes with challenges. This includes strict import regulations, uneven infrastructure across regions, and farmers who still rely on traditional methods. Most small and medium farmers are also highly price sensitive, which makes choosing the right entry mode very important. Choosing the right entry mode affects the level of control, risk, and investment. Indonesia is a developing market with mixed infrastructure and regulatory enforcement. Because of this uncertainty, high commitment modes like wholly owned subsidiaries are risky at the early stage. Therefore, a low commitment and learning-oriented approach is more suitable for Cantas. Cantas adopts a phased and hybrid entry strategy to manage uncertainty. This allows the company to enter gradually, reduce financial risk, and learn from the market before making irreversible investment. It also gives flexibility to adjust strategies based on real market feedback. The most suitable initial entry mode is direct exporting. Cantas will manufacture the machinery in Malaysia and export directly to Indonesia. This allows Cantas to maintain control over quality, technology, and innovation while keeping financial and operational risk low. In conclusion, Cantas should enter Indonesia through direct exporting supported by strategic distributors. This phased and hybrid approach minimizes risk, maximizes learning, and builds strong market presence. It positions Cantas for sustainable expansion in Indonesia's diverse agricultural landscape. Thank you.
When considering the expansion of Cantas into Indonesia, the core ethical question is whether mechanized harvesting can genuinely improve worker welfare and shared prosperity, or whether it risks deepening existing inequalities in the palm oil sector. Cantas has demonstrated a strong result in Malaysia. Field trials show that it can double harvesting productivity, reduce the number of harvesters needed, and significantly lower physical strain compared to traditional manual methods such as pole solving and tree climbing. These benefits are particularly relevant in Indonesia, where palm oil harvesting remains one of the most hazardous agricultural occupations. However, higher productivity also raises ethical concerns in Indonesia. Many plantation workers earn low daily wages and have limited job security. If Chantas is introduced purely as a labor-saving tool, productivity gains could translate into job losses or increases work pressure rather than improve livelihoods. Ethically, Chantas should be framed as a safety and income-enhancing technology, supported by no layoff policies, retraining programs, and the redistribution of economic gains to workers through stable employment or safer complementary roles. Smallholder inclusion represents a second major ethical issue. More than 40% of Indonesia's palm oil production come from over 2 million smallholders, many of whom lack access to capital, training, and modern equipment. The high upfront cost of Chantas, along with fuel and maintenance requirements, risk reinforcing a dual system in which large corporate plantations benefit from mechanization, while independent smallholders remain dependent on unsafe manual tools. Ethical expansion therefore requires a smallholder-first strategy, including cooperative ownership models, tiered pricing, access to microfinance, and demonstration programs that allow farmers to assess performance and payback under local conditions. Labor rights and occupational safety from a third ethical dimension. While Chantas reduces certain physical risks, motorized tools introduce new hazards such as vibration exposure and ergonomic strain. In Indonesia, where labor protections are inconsistently enforced, there is a risk that mechanization could be used to justify higher production targets without adequate training, rest periods, personal protective equipment, or health monitoring. Ethical distribution must therefore link sales to clear safety protocols, documented training, and collaboration with labor authorities and worker representatives. Closely related are indigenous rights and cultural integrity. In regions such as Kalimantan, Papua, and Aceh, land holds deep cultural and spiritual meaning. Introducing mechanized technologies without meaningful consultation can be perceived as further commodifying land and labor. Ethical implementation therefore requires respect for free, prior, and informed consent processes and genuine engagement with indigenous institutions. Finally, ethical responsibility extends to governance, transparency, and impact measurement. Indonesia's palm oil industry has faced persistent challenges related to corruption and weak oversight. To avoid reinforcing these problems, Chantas distribution should be transparent, traceable, and accountable, with clear pricing, auditable sales channels, and independent monitoring of social impacts, such as injury rates, income changes, and access for smallholders. Expanding Chantas in Indonesia is not merely a technological decision, but an ethical one. With strong safeguards, inclusive strategies, and respect for labor and land rights, Chantas can contribute to safer work more than equitable development. Without these measures, the same technology risks amplifying inequality under the guise of efficiency.
In conclusion, the expansion of Cantas mechanized harvesting technology into Indonesia presents a strong but complex opportunity for E-Tani. As the world's largest palm oil producer with an estimated output of 57 million tons in 2025, Indonesia offers significant market potential driven by labor shortage, rising mechanization needs, and government support for agricultural modernization. However, successful entry requires careful management of regulatory, cultural, competitive, and ethical challenges. Indonesia palm oil sector is at a critical point. Supportive policies such as the downstreaming initiative and the B35 biodiesel mandate create an enabling environment for technologies like Chantas. The technology's ability to double harvesting productivity, reduce labor intensity by up to 50%, and improve worker safety directly addresses key plantation challenges. At the same time, risks remain, including regulatory uncertainty, trade barriers such as the EU deforestation regulation, and difficulty in reaching smallholder farmers. To manage these challenges, a phased entry strategy is recommended. Direct exporting through selected local distributor allow E-Tani to enter the market with lower risk, gain market knowledge, and adapt to Indonesia's diverse region, including Sumatra, Kalimantan, and Sulawesi. This approach provides flexibility before moving toward higher commitment options such as joint ventures or local assembly. Ethical responsibility is central to this expansion. E-Tani must prioritize smallholder inclusion, worker safety, and land rights protection. A smallholder-first strategy, no layoff policies, ergonomics training, PPE provision, and strict land rights due diligence are essential to ensure responsibility technology adoption. Overall, the success of Cantas in Indonesia depends on balancing commercial objectives with ethical commitment. By positioning itself as a long-term partner rather than just a machinery supplier, E-Tani can contribute to a safer, more inclusive, and more sustainable palm oil sector while creating shared value for farmers, industry, and the wider economy.